Hey, how's it going, guys? So I know it's been a while since I last released a video, and my apologies, but I've been really busy. So my apologies for that. But let's go ahead and continue from where we left off at. So we left off over here inside the cart component, in which we allow the user to add items, update the quantity, and also delete the item from the cart. Okay. So now that we took care of that, the next step is to allow the user to proceed throughout the checkout process, right? So if they click on proceed to checkout, we want to allow them to, add the shipping address and the billing information and all that other stuff to finish off the whole checking out process. All right. But there's going to be some redirect logic that's going to be involved in this, because in this case, if the user clicks proceed to checkout, we're first going to check to see if the user is actually signed in already. So as you can see here on the top of the navigation, we see that the user is currently not signed in. So in this case, we want to redirect the user to the sign in page over here. Okay. Whereas if they are here and they click proceed to checkout and they are logged in, then at that point we want to redirect them to the shipping page to continue the process. All right, so that is going to be what we're going to take care of, is taking care of the redirection logic for this. Now, one thing I want you guys to take note of, or also understand, is that if the user is not signed in and they click proceed to checkout, here they're going to be redirected to the sign-in page. But know that we are going to be doing something by adding a redirect, this query parameter of redirect to shipping here. And this is going to be really important, because this is going to be distinguish where the user came from when they clicked sign in from this sign-in page here. So if this query parameter does exist here, then that does let us know that the user was redirected from the cart component. So at that moment, when the user does click sign in, well, we can redirect him to shipping, right? Whereas opposed to if they are on the sign-in page here and say this does not exist, the redirect to shipping does not exist, then we know that the user, in this case John Doe, that when he clicks sign in, he's just trying to sign into the user dashboard. So in this case, you can see here the user dashboard, which is correct. So let me go ahead and log out. And then we do have the scenario, obviously that if the user is, like, if they are admin, in this case Jane Doe is considered admin, well, and then she does click sign in, she is redirected to the admin dashboard. Okay, log out. So there are essentially three possible scenarios, redirect scenarios that could occur when the user clicks sign in here. So one is, again, if the user is an admin and clicks sign in, they're going to be redirected to admin dashboard. If they're just a regular user without the parameters here in the URL, then they're going to be redirected to the user dashboard. And then the third and final scenario is if the query parameter does exist here, which is redirect equals a shipping, then they click sign in, they will be redirected to the shipping page or component. Okay, so let's go ahead and take care of that. All right, so here, let's go to the notes. All right, so first step is we're gonna go add an event listener to that button. So we're gonna go here and grab the cart component, go to the button, and it's right over here. So we're going to do an on-click. We're going to listen for an on-click, and we're going to handle that with a handle checkout. All right. So let's go ahead and mark that off. Next step is to add the event handler to that button. So we're going to go here to the top. And we'll do that right underneath handle quantity change. Handle checkout. And we are gonna do a condition here to check is, well, we're gonna have to check if the user is authenticated, right? So in order to do that, we're gonna have to grab a function that we created in earlier videos. If you don't recall what I'm talking about, that was in a video called for authentication, and we set that up within our helpers folder here inside auth, and here we have it. So what it's doing is it's checking the function is checking for the cookie of token, and it's checking for the local storage of a user. All right, don't mind this. It's just because we haven't created actually, you know what? I don't want to confuse you there. So let me actually comment out this stuff here from, all right, we'll do, actually, yeah, we'll do console log handle checkout. All right, so that removes the error. Let's go to open our dev tools. And what I'm talking about, going back to here, so that function is authenticated. It's checking for the cookie and it's checking for the local storage for the authentication. So go into the application tab. The first thing is checking for the cookies here, right? And currently you see there's no token here, all right? So that's one check that the user is not authenticated yet. And the other step is for the local storage, which would be user that would exist here in the key. All right, we see that does not occur. Therefore, the user is not signed in, and we can verify. And as you can see here in the nav, there's further proof right here is that we do have the sign in and sign up being shown to us. Okay, so that is what that is. This condition is doing. So we have to grab this function that we created and pull that into our cart component. So import is authenticated. All right. And there you go. It passes the path to where that function is. So now we have that imported, and now we can make use of it. So going back here, let's go ahead and check if is authenticated. Remember, pass the parentheses as well, because it is a function. Okay, so if the user is authenticated, then we're going to redirect them to the shipping component, or aka page. Just a reminder, I kind of use that interchangeably. When I say like the page, I also mean the component. Okay. All right. So if the user is authenticated, redirect them to the shipping page, and then else. That means they're not authenticated, so we're going to redirect them to the sign-in page. But again, remember, we have to add that query parameter, which is going to be really important for us to know that they did arrive to the sign-in page from the cart component. So redirect to shipping. All right, there you go. All right, so that takes care of that. So that is it. That's all we need for the event handler. So let's go ahead and mark that off. All right, next step is now we're gonna create a shipping page skeleton. All right. So let's go ahead and create that shipping page here. So if they are authenticated, we do want to push them to the shipping component, but it currently doesn't exist. Okay, here, let me collapse some of the stuff. Okay, so components, we're going to create a file and call that shipping.js. Okay, import React, from React. Oh. It's called shipping. And here, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna return a simple section tag. Return section tag. Here, actually, all those errors that we're seeing here with those red marks is because we have to export it. So let's go ahead and take care of that. Export the shipping. Okay. Oh no, actually it was because I forgot my arrow right here, the fat arrow right here. There we go. All right. So now we have here. So what we want to do is we want to have display the section tag, and we're gonna do inside shipping component. Okay, why is this giving me these errors here? What did I do wrong here? Shipping, export default shipping from React. What is it? Single arrows? Does that make a difference? No. Oh, there we go. Yeah, okay. My apologies. It's not curly braces that we're using here. Okay, so there we go. And as you can see here in the console, those errors are removed. All right, so let's go back here and see what we got. All right, well, there's no errors. Okay, good. All right, so that's the next step, is now we have a skeleton structure for the shipping component. Let's go ahead and mark that off. So next step is, all right, so now that we have the shipping page, we're gonna have to add that to the routing system, or in this case, where we have the app.js as our front-end routing system. So let's go ahead and import that component, and we'll bring that right under cart. So we're going to do import shipping from shipping. Okay, and we'll copy the routing for cart and paste that right beneath the product and make our adjustments. So this will be shipping, and if there's a path that matches in the URL for shipping, then we'll display the shipping component. Save that. All right, so now we added the shipping component to the routing system. All right, next step is now we're gonna go into the sign-in component. And the first thing within that component is we're gonna get the location prop to grab the parameter from the URL. So in order to grab certain things from our URL, well, React Router DOM, which is a package that we have imported already, it allows to make use of this property called location, and that location allows us to make access to to like query parameters, and that's what we want. So again, let's see here. So going to the cart component, just refresh your memory, is that when the user clicks proceed to checkout, this handle on this event handler is going to fire off, check if the user is authenticated, then push them to the shipping or redirect them to the shipping page. Otherwise, we're redirecting them to the sign-in component, which also passes this query parameter of redirect to shipping. So let's go to the sign-in component. Right over here. All right, so the first thing we want to do is, as I said, in order to make use of that location object or prop, we have to destructure it here. And just a reminder, in case you're wondering how we actually have access to this location, remember React Router DOM. So the routing system here, we have that imported here, and because any routes that are being used or that are allowing us to be redirected to the appropriate components, is like such as here, right here, because we're making use of this route here, which is part of the React Router DOM. Automatically, it gives us access to that location prop. So this is why we have access to the location prop. Okay, so we're going to destructure this location prop. And the idea is that when this is fired off, that handle submit within the sign-in component, then we're going to do our client-side validation here, right? Within, you see these if conditions here, and then at that point, if it reaches this point here, that means the validation, the client-side validation is successful. There's no issues, and then we're gonna make a call to the sign-in to sign in and pass in all that sign-in data from the form, and that goes to the back end, and then we're gonna get a response. And if it reaches this point here within this block of code, that means that it was successful. So at that point, this set authentication is going to pass that token and set up our cookie with this token and pass in this user to the local storage. And then we have the condition here, which is going to do the appropriate redirection that is needed. So the first step is the first condition is checking that if the user is authenticated and they have the role of 1, then that means they are admin, so they're going to be redirected to the admin dashboard. Else, what we did was we have the redirection to the user dashboard, but we're going to make some changes here. Instead, for redirect them to the user dashboard, we're going to do an else if. We'll copy this here, paste here. So we're going to check now is if they're authenticated and their row is not 1, but rather 0. So the row of 0 means that they're just a regular, that they're a signed in user, not an admin. That at that point, we want to redirect the user to the dashboard. But also in addition to that, now to think about it, is that we're going to have a third condition. And that condition is to check if the user is, if a redirect was here. Let me actually, before we get there, let me go here and take care of our location here, right? This location, we have to figure out from the URL if they arrived to the sign-in page from the cart page. So so what we're gonna do here is, let's see here. So we'll do that. We'll do that right over here. No, actually, you know what? Sign in. So once they're signed in, we'll do that right here. Once the token and the user is set up inside the local storage. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a redirect variable, and we're gonna check the location, and let's see here. Let's go to React Router DOM location and check the properties, because I honestly forgot the name of the property here. All right, search. Yeah, that's what it was called. So as you can see here in the documentation for React Router DOM, one of the properties is search, and it allows us to get access to those query parameters. So we'll do location and then search. And then we're going to do a split. And for split, we're going to split it at we're going to use a delimiter, and we're going to split that here where there is an equal sign found inside the URL. So here you can see in this example, the split, what it's going to do is it's going to check that the query parameter, and we're going to separate it here at the equal sign. And then at that point, what it's going to do is it's going to return to us an array, with this being the first item in the array, and then the actual value being the second item in the array. So that's what the split is going to do. It's going to split that there, split it, and then return to us an array with those two items. And then we want to grab the second item inside that array, and that would be at index of 1. Okay, and actually let me show that here. Let me actually show you proof here. So let's do a console log of redirect. Let's do redirect value or redirect array, and then we'll pass in the redirect. Okay, so this is what I want to do here. All right, cool. So we're gonna do that just so that way you can see what we get. All right, so let me go here, open up the console, empty that out. So if we go to the cart, we're in cart and we click proceed to checkout, you can see currently right now in the URL, we do have our query parameter of redirect to shipping. So if we click sign in, you can see we get our array here. First item is the actual key, right? With a redirect, which includes that question mark to start off the query parameters, and then we get our actual value, which is shipping. And this is actually the value we're going to use as the path to where we want to redirect a user, which is the shipping page. So this is what we want to get access to. So remember, arrays are zero based in, or they start at 0 index. So we want to grab this value at 1. Okay, so here, once we split it and get that, we want to grab it at index of 1. So at that point, we would end up getting here. Let me test this again. Redirect value of the redirect is going to be, now we should get shipping. Okay, so I'm going to save that and show you. I'm going to log out now. So from the cart page, proceed to checkout. Oh, let me bring this a little lower. Sign in, and you see redirect value is shipping. All right, so that is exactly what we want. We want that. All right. So, but know that, I want you to also know that in that case, the reason why we got that shipping is because let me log out here, is because here in the sign in page, we saw that the query parameter was, it was showing here. But now, if the user did click here to sign in and they want to sign in as a logged in, as John Doe, who's a regular user, that the value of redirect would end up being undefined because this redirect was never, or the query parameter never existed. So I want you to know that, so because that's going to be important inside our if else condition. Because here now, if we're gonna, this value could either be shipping or undefined. Those are the two possible things that in which it could be. So here in our condition, going back to our if else statement, we're checking first, is the user an admin? If so, redirect them to admin dashboard. Else if, is the user a regular user? But we also want to add and not to redirect. Okay, so not redirect would be is if this redirect is undefined, meaning that query never existed. So also if not redirect, then that means we just want to push them to or redirect them to the user dashboard. And finally, else, that means that redirect did have a value and we want to redirect the user to, let me console log here, redirecting to shipping page or shipping. All right, so we're gonna redirect them to shipping. All right, there we go. All right, so now we took care of this. We grabbed the location property, and then we took care of our add condition after sign-in authentication success to redirect user to specific page. All right, so we took care of that. All right, and finally, we have to take care of our header JS. Okay, actually, let's see where we're at currently right now. Here. All right, so as I said before at the beginning of this lecture, I said 3 possible routings are possible when the user clicks sign in. One is if the user clicks sign in and they are an admin. So in this case, Jane Doe is an admin. They're going to be redirected to admin dashboard. All right, that's first checked, right? That's the first check. They are admin and redirected there. So let's log out there. Second condition is if the user is a regular logged in user, in this case John Doe, but the query string does not exist here, right? Meaning that they did not arrive here from the cart page. So they're just trying to log into the user admin dashboard. So logging in as a user, a regular user, redirected to the user dashboard. Second check. All right, so final check is if the user arrives to the sign-in page from the cart page component, clicking the proceed to check out, they're redirected here to the sign-in, and this is further proof here based on this query parameter of redirect shipping. So in this case, the user is logged in and they click sign in. Look at that. They are actually redirected to the shipping component. And as you can see here further is that inside shipping component. All right. And also let me show you that they are indeed authenticated. We can verify that by checking the cookie. All right. So the cookie, you see we get the token and then the value, and then the local storage is you have the user right here. All right. So there is that, but the last thing is that you can notice here, actually, let me close this console. Okay, so we are currently in the shipping component, right? But you can see there's something different here or something off in our navigation. All we have is the dashboard and logout, but we don't have the home, the shop, or the cart link anymore here. So let's go ahead and make that adjustment. And that is here. So that's going to be inside our header. And as I said, we're going to add the home, shop, and cart links to the user authenticated condition. The user authenticated condition that I'm referring to, let's go to the header component. All right, that is referring to this here. So this here is checking for the row of 0, which is a logged in user. Currently, you see it's only showing us the dashboard. So let's go ahead and copy some stuff from this portion here where it's checking if the user is not authenticated. And it displays the home, shop, and the cart. So let's go ahead and copy all those 3 from here. I'm going to copy, go down to this portion here for the authentication of the user, and we'll paste that below the dashboard. Save that, go back, and now you can see that we have our dashboard, home, shop, cart, and logout. But now you see that we have home and dashboard which have the same icons. So that's going to be our final change. Is we're gonna keep the home icon to be the same. We're just gonna switch it up for the dashboard. All right. And what I'm gonna make use of is an icon called user cog. Let's see here. So this is Okay, so this is the dashboard we want here. So we're gonna change this from file home to file user cog. Save that, and let's see how that looks. And you can see here we have user with the little with that little cog wheel next to it. So that's a lot better. But we're gonna have to give this icon also to the admin dashboard as well. So we'll just make what we'll do is we'll copy this here, and we're gonna go to the portion of the admin dashboard, which is right here. When the user is, the row is 1, go to the dashboard, and you can see we got the home currently. We'll delete that, paste in the user cog. So that'll take care of that. All right, and that is it. Yes, that is it. All right, so we took care of everything we needed. The routing system for the redirection when the user does click on the proceed to checkout page.